Hey guys, this is your girl Christy Speaks, and I am here with music producer, conscious jazz rap artist, Juanito Jones. How are you?
Hey, I'm very well. Thank you for having me.
Yes,
It's a really big pleasure. I appreciate you having me on your platform.
of course. Thank you for being here. Now, of course, we got to talk about your look.
Yes.
Very, very dapper,
Thank you.
fedora. I know momentarily we just talked about how you wear your fedora. Can you explain a little bit about your appearance? Because it is definitely you stand out.
Appreciate that. I've always been the type to just not necessarily look like everybody else, especially as a rap artist. I don't like, I like the fact that if people didn't know me, the last thing that they would expect is for me to be a rap artist. It adds just to the mystique and the I've always been that type of person, and especially now I've always liked being very private and like not people don't really know much about me. It gives people an opportunity to want to know more. I don't show my face on camera, pictures, videos, interviews purposely, just because I like people just really
pay attention to the music.
Work. Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
And I think that gives people so much of an incline to want to just hear more. And I think in general it just sparks interest, of like people want to know more, I guess, about me as an artist.
I love that. Now I have to ask, because Juanito Jones is such a dope name. Is there a story behind that name?
I got the name in middle school. I was wearing hats. I probably worn hats all my life.
Oh yeah.
And he was just like, it was just in the moment thing, and he was like, "Man, that hat reminds me of like Indiana Jones." And he was like,
"Yeah,
you should be called Juanito Jones, like randomly."
I love that.
And it stuck with me, and I was like, all right, I guess I'm rocking with that.
I love that. Now, for those who might be a little bit unfamiliar with your background, tell us a little bit more about yourself. Now, I know you're from the Bronx, New York, and
originally, yep.
Yes, and at the age of 5, you already knew that you wanted to pursue music.
I've always been inclined into the arts. Musically, I've written songs as a kid, and I chopped up vinyls as a kid, to wanting to be the next Kanye in terms of production. So I pretty much knew that I wanted to do something in entertainment or something musically, and then it just became one of those things that I just pursued it.
Love that. Now, earlier I introduced you as a conscious jazz rap artist. Would you say that more describes your mental state as a conscious man, or is that just a message in your music?
Or both? I would say both. Right. Musically, I've always been the type of artist to just not really necessarily make the same type of music everyone else is making. I personally don't think there's a lot of growth and a lot of substance with that. And I've always just been inclined to just speaking the truth of like what's going on in the world, my perspective on things, my ideas, and things of that nature. So, and I've always just been into like conscious things and making people think, and even the artists that I listen to as well, just in that same category. And I find there to be more longevity and more people give you respect for just staying true to your artistry.
Yeah. Have you ever received any pushback from other people in the music industry when it comes to you speaking your truth, making your own music from your own perspective? Because nowadays the music is just sometimes a little negative and definitely very similar.
So when I had gotten my first record deal a long time ago, I was signed to Universal, and they had wanted me to. They loved the whole aesthetic, the whole look. The only thing is they wanted me to make like club music, and I totally wasn't having that.
Wow.
So after like it was a dope experience. I traveled to a lot of places, performed a lot of places, worked with a lot of people, and it was cool. But I wasn't digging the vibe of like, man, this is the only thing you guys want me to do. So after the year was up, I didn't return, and I was just like more on the independent grind. I like the fact that like when new people come across me, it's like really the last thing that they're expecting, and it's like not even probably what they're thinking about. I think when I'm performing, it does bring in a completely different vibe. I know, like when I was performing a lot, especially one of the shows I did in SOBs here in New York, it was like I think 18 people on the bill. I purposely wanted to go first. I never like going in the middle. I either like going first, last, or like second or third. I don't like being like a filler because most of the time people don't remember you when you're performing. Yeah, and just like showing up, and like every other artist, to me, it just sounded like everyone was saying the same thing. They're all rapping the same. They're all doing music the same. And then I showed up, and I didn't at that time. I didn't bring a crowd either. Like personally, like I usually go solo and whatever, and all these artists would bring like 20, 30 people.
Rolling deep.
And yeah, I mean, that's cool. I mean, I don't think you necessarily need that if you're like talented and if your music speaks for yourself. Some people just, that's their preference. And I performed, and it was just like complete silence. And it was like everyone, their eyes were on me, and everyone just like approached me after the show, and it was like, you know, it's always usually what I am expecting, but usually what people aren't expecting it to be. And the lights were like almost completely, it was like usually almost dark when I perform, or like there's a light on me, or they're like super dim, and then it's like, you know, I start doing my thing, and people are just like, wow, this is really dope. So
it is.
I love the fact of being different, especially in a world where it's so similar.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I love that. You definitely are very versatile. So music producer, rap artist, do you play any instruments at all?
Yeah, so I play the piano. I taught myself how to play the piano at a young age.
How to play the piano. See, I took theory classes, but it took me.
Yeah, I'm terrible at that. I'm so bad at that. Like I had even went to school for music, and I like took a whole class. Like I took a whole year of like music theory, and I still can't read or write, or like I just.
That's a lot. Yeah, you gotta be consistent and definite. Which high school? I'm just curious.
Well, no, I didn't. I went to college for music. So I did a year at IAR, that doesn't exist anymore, and then I did a year at Juilliard, and then from there I just gotten signed, and I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm gonna just fully blown go. Yeah. So I went music for music composition, music performance. But then before that, I was doing like audio engineering and music theory, and I was like, this is too much for me. I'm gonna just do what I do and just keep like playing by ear and like producing and all that. So that's the only instrument. But I feel like when you know how to play that, you can pretty much branch out and play other instruments as well.